Transferral by Kate Blair. Chapter 7. Penthouse Flat, Bankside, London, 18 days left. Getting away from Dad and his staff was the easy part. I'll tell them I'll study at home. Dad agrees, promises afternoon tea another day. Tells me how much he misses me and to call him or his staff if I need anything. But I can't wander into the Barbican dressed in a Burberry coat and a tweed skirt. It would stand out like a bikini in winter. So I head for Oxford Street and get buffeted by the crowds as I work my way to the cheapest of the chain stores. I grab an ensemble modeled on the woman I saw ahead of me at Holloway. Pink jacket, short denim skirt, tight t-shirt, and cheap trainers. I add a leopard print Stetson and scarf that I can pull over my face to act as a makeshift mask. I decide to wear my Dior sunglasses. People will assume they're knockoffs, and I need one thing that's still me. I get changed at home and adjust my makeup, layering on too much eyeliner and drawing wider lips over my own in bright red. I reshape my cheeks in bronzer, curl and comb back my hair, then shove the hat on top. I'm a total mess, but I don't even recognize myself. For a second, I feel weightless. I could be anyone, someone normal, someone who doesn't have to behave, who doesn't have to talk politics to everyone she meets. I twirl and laugh. Unfortunately, I didn't count on the rain. It begins halfway across Southwark Bridge, a stubborn drizzle that fogs up the view and saturates clothing. By the time I reach the London Wall, my bare legs are freezing, the water running down them and into my trainers with a squeak, which squeak with each step. The nearest entrance to the Barbican is a passageway between two buildings, half in shadow below a concrete walkway. Cardboard boxes huddle under the walkway, but the wind blows the rain sideways, and they're as wet as I am. I take a deep breath and remind myself I'm doing this for Tig. What if she's living rough in the Barbican? I peer into the boxes as I pass, but she's not there. Just adult-sized lumps under thin blankets. I head under the walkway, trying to look like I know where I'm going. How do criminals walk? I add a swagger to my step, but I splash in puddles and it feels wrong. To my left is some of the original Roman London Wall. It's crumbling now, camouflaged with graffiti, bright orange obscenities sprayed on our ancient history. Disgusting. It's surrounded by a mess of old tents and lean-tos made of cardboard and plastic, tarpaulins flapping in the wind. My trainers slip in the wet mud, and cupped hands reach out as I pass, mumbled requests for money, for a smoke, for alcohol. I'm still too well dressed for this place. My clothes are new and clean, unlike the filthy shirts that hangs off the men clustered around here. Everyone is coughing or sneezing. The smell, the squalor, the clamor for money threatens to overwhelm me. But I keep my head down through the park, heading for the Barbican itself. It was meant to be beautiful when it was first planned, but as St. Bart's expanded in the 60s, everyone respectable moved away from the beggars, drug dealers, and alcoholics who crowded around the hospital, waiting for their fellow gang members or addict customers to be let back out with diseases too minor to warrant a stay in quarantine. So the Barbican became where no hopers ended up, a place where people could hide. Walls were erected around much of the estate, the entrances narrowed, and the flats divided into two. I have to hide my surprise as I step out from the park. It's a city, a whole city within a city. Buildings rise up on all sides. Concrete grids of identical windows, tiny gray balconies, rain running down from them. Pollution-stained high-rises supported on columns, dank paths like tunnels underneath. a dirty labyrinth of walkways, columns, ledges, balconies, and flats, intersecting with each other and looming over me. I'm staring up so much I almost walk into a stinking concrete trough. There are dozens lining the walkways. I guess they were meant to be planters when the place was designed, but it was obvious from the stench that they're used as open-air latrines. The path takes me between two buildings. I step out into a grubby courtyard, surrounded on all sides by the brutal high-rises. There's an empty fountain in the corner, in use as a tatty market, filled with people. I can blend in better there. A crate had been placed at the edge to act as a step down. I tread on it gingerly and climb into the market. Threadbare clothes, filthy tomatoes, dog-eared and soaking paperbacks are laid out on a scrap of plastic. Someone sitting behind each heap as people milled around the rudimentary stalls. One woman has 4 plucked pigeons presented in front of her and appears to be haggling with a man offering her a pair of old shoes. Her face is covered in a bright red rash. Men and women are coughing and noses are being wiped with dirty scrap cloth. I tighten my scarf around my face and jump as someone sneezes right behind me. These people don't need to be sentenced to diseases. They must pass them around like sweets. No wonder so many of them are immune to what they're sentenced to. It makes a mockery of the whole justice system. It was dumb to come here. I thought I could walk around for a while and keep my eye out for Tig. I thought I could ask people where Jack used to live, pretend I was a friend. But I stand out too much. I'm going to catch something here. Men whistled as I walked by. Ooh, one coos, fancy lady. There's a hand on my bottom as I spin around. There are too many people behind me. It could have been any of them. There must be another way to find the girl, a safer way. There's another crate here, a step out of this nightmarish market. I slip in my haste to get out. Where's the exit? I've been spun around. I don't know which way is south. I'm hemmed in on all sides by graffiti-strewn walls of the estate, by the foggy rain, by the people and the smell of sweat, the sour scent of alcohol on breath, their broken teeth, leers, and dirty hands. The air here is a miasma of germs. My breath comes out hard. My gaze swings from person to person. They're too close, coughing and sniffing. Criminals I'd cross the road to avoid. Killers like Thomas Bryce. There's a hand on my pocket. I don't react. What if this thief is armed and waiting for an excuse to attack? Ahead of me, someone walks with purpose, cutting a path through the crowd. His shoulders are back, chin high like he owns the place. His jeans are clean, his jacket new. He's familiar. And I dive through the crowd towards him as if to a long-lost friend. He's young, not that much older than me. He says something in acknowledgement to a man he passes, turning around so his face is visible, his brown skin, his green eyes. I stop. I've seen him before. It takes a moment for the memory to click into place. The hospital. He looked in my room, asked if I'd seen a big man. I blathered at him, and he moved on. I put my hand to my mouth. I'd forgotten all about that. But it's obvious now. He was looking for Jack Benson. His green eyes are as startling as they were then. Tig has green eyes, too. Could he be the Curion Jack mentioned in quarantine? I followed him. It's not like I have any better options. If he's Tig's brother, maybe he's going home. He could lead me right to her. If he isn't, He's still one of the most normal-looking person in this place, and he clearly knows where he's going. If he's sensible, it's out of here. I move into the gap he leaves behind him in the crowd and match his pace. I keep focused on his feet as I pad along the gum-stained ground. He's wearing high street trainers, which I guess is expensive for here. How does he make his money? Sensible employers won't touch a resident of the Barbican, for obvious reasons. Maybe he's a drug dealer, like Jack Benson. I let some distance grow between us. He was sneezing at the hospital. Perhaps he wasn't there to have a transfer. Perhaps he was receiving one. He's heading out for one of the taller towers. The balconies condense the drizzle into proper rain and throw it down onto our heads. The boy reaches the door, a spider web of smashed glass held together by masking tape. He swings it open and disappears into the darkness of the foyer. I grab the stained and loose handle and hesitate. A man under the drenched blanket nearby is staring at me. His face is as filthy as the sheet that covers him. He leers at me, sits fast, and reaches for my ankle. I yank it away. He breaks into a coughing fit, not even bothering to cover his mouth. I pull the door open hesitantly and follow the boy inside, out of range of the man's germs. The glass rattles as the door closes behind me. I pull off my sunglasses, but it still takes my eyes a few seconds to adjust. Most of the windows have been replaced by plywood, blocking out the sun. The stench of urine reaches me, and there's liquid on the brown tiled floor. I retch. A bang to my left draws my attention to the stairwell, the door slamming shut. The boy obviously went that way. I glance over at the lifts, but one set of doors opens into a shaft itself, and the second appears to have been beaten inwards. The third set has an out of order written in spray paint. I should get out of here, get out of the Barbican. But the front door starts to open again, and I'm terrified. It's the man with the blanket. I can't let him corner me here. I follow the boy. The stairwell smells worse than the foyer. I avoid a brown lump in the corner. Who uses hallways as loos? The boy's trainers scuff on the stairs above me. I follow, keeping my eyes on the ground, avoiding the stains and wet patches as much as I can. I'm going to throw my shoes away as soon as I get home. Burn them if I can. My thighs start to ache, and my breath comes a little harder. How high are we going? Hinges squeak on the floor above me. I focus on the stairs and cover the remaining ground until I reach the door the boy went through. A sign tells me I'm on the 29th floor. I push my hands on my thighs for a moment and breathe deeply. Then I push the door open carefully and step into a gloomy triangle-shaped space in which I can just make out the 3 lifts and the 5 other doors. A dark shape in the furthest corner detaches itself from the wall, and there's a light shining in my face. I blink and stumble away. My back hits the wall. Why are you following me? He advances on me, holding a torch. The accent is pure East London. I'm not. He moves so he's standing between me and the stairs. Does he have a weapon? Then why are you here? I take 2 quick breaths. Think fast, Talia, and for goodness sake, change your accent. I'm looking for my friend, I managed. What I hope was a passable South London tone rather than my usual BBC English. Which flat? She's, I don't know. The boy steps over to the wall and flicks a switch. The landing fills with light and I flinch. I'm in danger if he recognizes me. I cover my face with my hands and make a sobbing noise. I'm not a good actress. But my face is already wet with rain. I rub my eyes, hoping my makeup is smearing all over my features. The boy steps over and pulls my hands away from my face. I resist, but his grip is firm. Is that why you followed me? He says. You're lost? His voice is kind, but patronizing, as if speaking to a simpleton. I'm close to real tears now, and my voice breaks when I reply, You look like you knew where you were going. Out there, all the people. It can be hard when you're first here. Let me guess. Evicted because of a minor conviction, a cold, or stomach flu, even though you're already better? I nod. He lets go of my hands. It feels like the end of your life, I know. But you'll learn how to avoid addicts and pickpockets. It's a strong community. We look out for each other. I let myself look up into his eyes. The color of them still catches me by surprise. I'm Galen, he says, holding out his hand. Not Kirian, then. It's an odd name. Familiar somehow. I offer my own hand and we shake. His grip is warm and dry. I'm Tanya. Tanya, he says, tilting his hand. He notices the pause. Pick any name you like. It's a new start. Well, welcome to Shakespeare Town. I can help you find your friend. I know most people around here. What is she called? Shakespeare Tower. Jack Benson said Shakespeare, didn't he? For a moment, I considered telling him who I'm really looking for. But I've been all over television, all over the papers, looking for Tig. I'm lucky he hasn't recognized me. He'll put it together if I ask about her. I try and come up with a common name instead. Jessica. He taps his fingers against his full lips. One of the girls crammed into 8F is a Jessica. And there's a Jess in Cromwell Tower, too. You can ask Johnny. He's the guy who sleeps in the foyer there. He's a good bloke. Thank you. He waves a hand. No trouble. We help each other around here. He pauses. I hope to see more of you, Tanya. In spite of myself, I feel my cheeks glow. It's not my fault. He is good looking. A creak makes him turn around. The door to 29E opens. She's there. Tig, standing in the doorway. She kicks at the door jamb. What's going on? I heard talking. Her tone is surly, her accent even stronger than Galen's. Get back inside. What have I told you? His voice is kind, but firm. Don't I get to meet your friends? She smiled at me. I swallow, trying to keep control of the guilt and regret swell inside of me for what I've done to her father. Tig, Galen says. Tig kicks the door jamb once more, then turns. She closes the door loudly. Not quite a slam, but she's made her point. Galen grins. Sorry. Don't worry about it. My heart is pounding. I hope I still sounded calm. Your sister? His brow furrows. My sister? What makes you think that? My mouth opens a couple of times. It was a stupid thing to say. She's much paler than him. I would never have said it if I hadn't known she's Jack's daughter. Don't know. The eyes, I guess. I'm babysitting. Her mom's at work. He's a good liar. That's nice of you. He folds his arm. It's clearly time for me to leave. 8F? I asked. Yes, 8F. Or Cromwell Tower. Tell Johnny Galen says hi. Thanks so much. I'm backing towards the stairwell. No probs. See you around. I open the door, slip through it, back into the stinking stairwell. I lean against the wall and breathe deeply. I found her. I hurry down the stairs, careful not to trip. In the foyer, I peer out through the cracked glass before opening the door. The man with the blanket has disappeared, thank goodness. Instead of going through the central marketplace, I head towards the looming buildings, into the darkness of a narrow alleyway. I've not gone far before the footsteps start. Behind me, "Hey, babe," comes a voice. My muscles tense. I should have stuck with the marketplace. There's no one else here. I speed up. The thud of footsteps gains pace too. A wolf whistle. I can't go back, but the path ahead is dark, deep in the shadows of the concrete high-rises. "Why are you ignoring me, girlie?" Keys jingle in his pocket, the noise louder as he gets closer. He's walking fast. "Nice skirt, slut." I break into a run. The rhythm of jangling keys picks up, echoing off the buildings. "Think you're too good for me, whore like you?" The footsteps speed up, shoes squeaking, getting nearer. I push myself as fast as I can go, arms pumping as I strain forward. My breath is coming hard now. But there's a light ahead, at the end of the alleyway. Out of breath, swearing, from too close from behind me. Then I'm on a raised walkway above the city street. There's a staircase down to the main road. I take the steps 2 at a time, hoping I won't stumble. The man behind me shouts, but his voice is getting fainter. I peer up and he's leaning over the walkway, mouth distorted as he screams obscenities down at me. I stumbled into Elder's Gate, but keep running down the street, through the crowds, not stopping until I get to St. Martin le Grand. I lean my hands on my thighs, waiting for my breath to come back, my heart to stop racing. I'm safe here. A public telephone stands next to me. Perfect. I can call social services with my London accent and tell them where to find Tig and head straight home.